up this morning. Woke up this morning with light in my eyes, then realized it was still dark outside. Was a light coming down from the sky? Don't know who or why. Must be those strangers that come every night. The saucer-shaped lights put people uptight. Leave blue-green footprints that glow in the dark. I hope they get home alright. Hey, Mr. Spaceman, won't you please take me along? I won't do anything wrong. Hey, Mr. Spaceman, won't you please take me along for a ride? Woke up this morning, was feeling quite weird. Had flies in my beer, my toothpaste was smeared. Opened my window, they'd written my name. Said, well, so long, we'll see you again. Hey, Mr. Spaceman, won't you please take me along? I won't do anything wrong. Hey, Mr. Spaceman, won't you please take me along for a ride?
Hey everybody, Max's Models here. I'm here with Ken, and he's having a little trouble getting
Oh, here it is. I think I found it.
Well, this is weird. I'm showing okay, there it is. There's something.
I see you now.
There's something goofy going on with oops.
Hang on, I'm trying to figure out how to turn the sound off.
It's the button that says volume. You dial it down till it says 0, or the Oscar Foxtrot position.
Something different. It's got different buttons.
I don't know if the playback was just bad on my iPad or if it's a problem. I'll have to go back and listen. Well, hello everybody, and welcome to the TARDIS. As you know, today is going to be science fiction. You got it figured out, Ken? Have you found the video?
Yeah, well then. Sort of. We're getting there. You just keep going. I'll figure it out, yeah.
Well, Ken, we'll all just wait on you.
No, you're not.
So.
Okay.
Well, good evening, everybody, and welcome to the live stream. Ken, give them a voice check. Make sure they can hear you.
Oh, testing. 1, 2, 3. 3, 2,
Can you guys
1,
hear
testing.
Ken okay? So, whole bunch of cool stuff to cover tonight. And I did that. I borrowed some of those fake box arts from the Box Art Den, and some of them I made up myself. But we're going to be talking about science fiction largely tonight. And not only sci-fi that is, but sci-fi that could have been, or should have been, or would have been. And we just got a whole bunch of stuff to get into. And somebody at the last minute had thrown a suggestion out that I hadn't even thought about. So I don't know if this qualifies as sci-fi, but here's a kit model we never saw, and probably rightfully so. I take pride in saying I've never seen an episode of this television show, My Mother the Car, which according to Wikipedia is considered the second worst television show ever made, right behind Jerry Springer. But I guess that would qualify as science fiction. But anyway, one of the Glue Troopers had brought that up, and I was like, well, I got to throw that in there just for kicks and giggles. Now, but that brings the question, would you buy that model car? Not that I really have that much interest in a model 1928 Porter Touring car, but somehow, I don't know, some people buy anything if it's attached to a television show. And
I remember that show. I was a kid when that came out.
Yeah, it was a one-season wonder, and it's a miracle it got a full season. And yeah, a few of the Jerry Springer was more entertaining. Yeah, I've heard the show was really, really, really bad. So, guys, I just run around doing things. And by the way, thank you everybody for all the wonderful happy anniversary and happy birthday greetings. My wife and I went out and did something nice today, and we're going to go out and do something nice on Monday. So now I just have to figure out where to put my other glasses. Sign of aging. My other glasses. So the only sci-fi worth doing is Star Wars, and we're off. I believe the comment section will soon be getting lit up. Yeah, Artemis and SpaceX. Oh, I should have done an Artemis box art. I didn't even think about that. But anyway, enough of Mom in the car. One of the things we're going to talk about tonight is science fiction and how... Ken, I'm getting feedback. You still got the volume turned up?
I'm trying to figure. Can you turn the volume? Working on it.
Okay. One of the things, you guys, I'm working on the Aliens APC, which made a lot of headway today for the little bit of time I worked on it. It's starting to come together, starting to look like something now. In fact, let me see real quick. I'll throw a picture up here. If
because the charging cable is over there.
Let's see.
Thank you.
You can see I got the wheel.
No.
Okay, I'm going to turn that down while you guys have that particular discussion. And,
No, it's all right. We're done. We're done.
No, clearly you're not. No, let me just... there we go. We'll just tune Kenny out for a second until he gets this self-organized. Anyway, you can see where I got the olive drab painted on the wheel hubs. And the wheels, it's not actually black. That's a dark Luftwaffe gray. I think it looks better once I hard coat it. Now, obviously, this is before I painted the rest of it. But I used that tape, that frog tape. I got the wide stuff. 2 pieces cover the entire wheel hub, real sharp X-Acto knife, and it was pretty as you please. It's the first thing that's really been easy on this model. And it's going to look good when it's done. Nice thing about, like I've said before, the nice thing about armored vehicles is you can hide a lot of the mistakes and the fact that they're armored vehicles. And I get another look at the wheels. But let's see. I got to do something else today that I told you guys I would try to do, and I was able to do it. And I got both of the air guns, airbrushes, hooked up to the that new compressor that you wonderful people got me. And I didn't have a chance to get these organized. I literally just took them. There's where they both made in. I had to get a second Badger adapter, which was for like $8. They sent you all 3 adapters, so I have 2 extra Aztec and Apaches, but hooked up. And at first it wasn't working. What's the problem? Turned out the spray gun, the airbrush just needed cleaning. But let me show you what they can do. Okay, where is it? Yeah, here we go. It's fun trying to do this while you're at the same time, trying to hold a cell phone camera so you can get it. But here's both of the spray guns hooked up at the same time. The machine has plenty of pressure, and not that you would ever use them both at the same time, but you certainly could. So
fire phasers.
That is fully operational dual brush compressor.
Reload that phaser.
So I thought you guys, I'd promise you to show you those. You back, Ken? You ready?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, I'm turning your volume back up.
I'm trying to figure out how to get the comments in here, though.
But anyway, the reason I was getting into that APC is I'll thank you guys. Thanks for all the happy birthdays and happy anniversaries. I appreciate it. Hey, Steve. Steven, we're going to be calling you here in just a little bit later to...
Oh, don't warn him.
Well, got to make sure he's got his phone turned on. Anyway, what I was going to talk about was, of course, aliens. You've got the colonial marines. And in Battle L.A., you had, War of the Worlds, the machines finally get zapped by, Okay, where's the? There we go. The machines finally, once their shields are down, they finally get zapped by grunts. And the thing I like about these movies is that as you guys know, I served in the infantry, and it's always nice because you have a lot of movies like Independence Day, which are great films, but they're all dogfights and stuff, and jets or astronauts going in Armageddon, I love those movies. Absolutely love science fiction, but I like science fiction that takes place with the ground pounders, not only because I can identify with them, and usually, they're kind of red shirts, but it's just you get to know the characters. To me, it's a little more, I don't want to say it's more visceral. But here you got kind of in the tradition of the original book. You've got Tom Cruise is just an everyman's any man, a blue collar working guy with with family problems and everything else, trying to survive in a situation in which he was never, no one was ever equipped for. And he has to just rise to the occasion as best as he can. People go, oh, he was wrong to do this, or he was right to do that. Well, there is no guide for how to handle an alien invasion. And but I like the way it portrayed the troops in the military, because when the walkers' shields came down, it was when the walkers' shields came down, it was the grunts on the ground that were still around that were able to hit it with Gustavs and javelins and whatever they had and bring them down, and people getting their slugs in. And the fact the last scene you see the alien is some infantryman there with his M16 barrel as the thing crawls out and dies. Personally, I'd have emptied the magazine into it anyway, lobbed a few grenades in that thing just for good measure, and then seen what was going on. Of course. And in Aliens, it's kind of a ground pounder war. It was, I don't know. Aliens I think is in that kind of crossover between, it is solid science fiction, but it almost enters into the horror genre. Let's face it, Freddy Krueger's got nothing on one of the aliens. Another movie that I liked was Battle L.A. for the same reason, and one of the things Battle L.A. had going for it was it showed the combined arms, the jets, the helicopters. Everybody was doing their job. And the reason I like all of these kinds of science fiction movies is they have... Okay, what was all that? They have what I think is a fairly plausible... it can get a little Hollywoody, but it's still a fairly plausible, and if nothing else, somewhat positive portrayal of the troops trying to do their job, trying to defend the nation. The movie that I absolutely hate on so many levels is the, was it 95 American Godzilla or Zilla? Not only because of the goofy iguana-looking lizard, but the just the way they portrayed the military as bumbling and inept, and they couldn't do anything right. And they're all getting outsmarted by an animal with a brain the size of a pea. And and one of the things, and having been in the military, one of the things that really drove me up the wall, obviously the people who made that movie had no concept of how armies operate. You have this colonel that's running the show, which would not be the case, who's giving directions directly to a staff sergeant on the ground, and that's just not how the Army works. Staff sergeants talk to lieutenants and captains. Colonels talk to majors who talk to captains, and it goes downhill that way. But and even if you had some operator on the ground, I can trust you, it wouldn't be a staff sergeant, especially not some guy who, they just portray the guy as more or less a clown who makes good. Everything was cliched and stereotyped. And the other Godzilla movie that portrayed the military very badly was it 1985 when they brought the franchise back? That takes place in Japan, but that's the other one with Steve Martin, Raymond Burr. But the American military, there's half were there for Dr. Pepper product placement, and also just to act like, Brandon Tenold over at Brandon's Cult Movie Reviews did a real good job of panning that movie, because he's kind of like, yeah, millions of people are dying. Here you have this snarky army major making quips and jokes. I'm like, it's just, the whole thing was just God, it was bad. But you get movies like Aliens, and they clearly had some military advisors, because the characters were all kind of plausible at some level. And of course, everybody's favorite's Hudson. And game over, man.
Game over.
You know, I say we nuke this place from orbit. You know? But thank you. I want to thank Mr. and Mrs. Orange Tabby for the T-shirt. You guys may have seen that, but I'm sure. But here, let me see real quick. Do I have the picture? Okay. What is that whistling noise?
Sorry. Dinner.
Okay, I'm turning you down again.
No, you don't need to do it. It's done.
Too late.
Got downgraded again.
Yeah, I'll turn your internet back on when you pay your bill. I thought I had said. Okay. Let's see. Here we go. The shirt that I am wearing. There's the front and the back. Oh, that is just awesome. Totally classic. And then the very next, and then Daryl did that great song, the red shirts. And so, gonna see if I can make a better. I've got it downloaded. I'll see if I can make a better video at some point. But that was great. It's beautiful. It actually fits too, which for me is a major win. So, first off, before we go any further, I want to ask you guys, because I have an idea for a sci-fi. But you know how I love to mix genres, and but I have an idea for a sci-fi that would revolve around the infantry in a sort of Godzilla War of the Worlds kind of thing, which is why when I did not really intend to go down the rabbit hole like I did with some of those box arts, but I was making just one box art, and then I was like, hey, that's kind of fun. I think I'll make another one. And the next thing oh God, I've been on the computer for 4 hours, and a lot of work went into these, but you get a little quicker. But how many of you would buy this kit? Because I know I bloody well would. I'm
They can't hear me.
hold on. I'm going to turn your volume back up. Okay.
I'm out of the doghouse now.
You're out of the doghouse until the microwave goes off again.
That won't happen.
And but anyway, yeah, the John Ashley Smith is right. There was a Marvel, I think, no, it was DC. It was Superman versus Godzilla, I think. But tell me that would not be an awesome movie. And to make more fun, I think I'd place it in the 50s or 60s, and I have all kinds of cool ideas for neat stuff to do, but I think, so the question I was going to ask you guys, if you were going to mix up your genres or something like that in sci-fi, what is there that you'd like to see done? Or is there some kind of sci-fi that just hasn't been touched? Doesn't necessarily have to be a...
Somebody mentioned Starship Troopers. Knew that was coming.
I actually was going to put together a Starship Troopers box. I was looking for some pictures to cut up, and paste together, and I just didn't have time. And I was thinking about Starship Troopers fighting Star Wars Stormtroopers. That ought to be a pretty even match. And because Halo would make mincemeat out of starships, if a couple of teenagers with pistols, in a beat-up YT-1300 freighter can smoke the galaxy, I don't think they'd hold up against Master Chief very well. Yeah, I like to think so. But that Godzilla, he's having them for lunch there. But I got to be honest. If I saw that box art, I'm like, I don't care what I'm buying it. And so.
Is that real, or is that just?
No, I made that. I made that.
Wow, it's pretty good.
Look at that. Now I copied the logo. Somebody made Aurora, which I think in some ways is a better name.
Be careful. Steve's going to be pitching that to one of his customers.
Go for it, Steve. Go for it. Show the boys this video. I'm giving them ideas here. I'm going to make them millionaires. Now this is a cheat. This is nothing but the movie poster with a Revell logo and a scale added to it. But you got to admit, one thing I've learned is that the movie posters is kind of like, and it's often done by the same people who did the box art. So the movie posters are a great go-to, but they would I think that'd be especially because that movie's still so popular. But I think that would be that'd be just there's a kit that I would buy. Box probably wouldn't be quite those dimensions, but killer clowns, yeah. Killer clowns from outer space. Michael, you asked the very question I was getting to. Could Godzilla survive a weapon that attacks the very atoms one is made of? Because if you guys remember, in the original War of the Worlds, he said that the alien weapon had a way of unbonding leptons or mesons of the atomic glue that holds you together. And for the sake of sci-fi, my response would be to that his, what is it, the genome or the GDN, whatever it is that allows him to heal so fast, when he was, that the weapon uses a type of radiation to do that. And because Godzilla's a radiation-based creature, it has a different effect on him. So he's able to, I wouldn't say he's invincible to it. I don't want to give him too much plot armor, but he would be less.
It'd be better if it just made him bigger.
Well, what I was going to say, it would injure him and he comes back stronger or something like that. But that's the way I'd play that, because I can play that sci-fi game all day long. Because I'm a super nerd. I mean, just look at the shirt. Another one I came up with, I thought you guys would get a giggle out of. And of course, all this is good-natured fun, but I swear to God, if these kits were on the shelf, I know I'd buy one. Now, this one I got from the Box Art Den, and I think it's just, this actually looks like something that should have been on the shelves. And to Gene and the gang over there, I hope you don't mind.
How about Robbie the Robot versus Gundam?
Well, if it's the Robbie from Forbidden Planet, that'd be an interesting matchup. Except though both of them are supposed to be the good guy. Well, I guess you need an evil Gundam. But I thought about putting together a Gundam one, but again, just not enough time. But that actually looks like... now, I'm sure all of you guys have seen all the various iterations of War of the Worlds that have been made, the TV shows, the recent movies, and stuff like that. I want you to just put in the comment section, what is your favorite version? Now, personally, this is mine because that's the first one I ever saw. When I found out, I was like, oh, they made a book from the movie? And they're like, no, the book came first. And it's like, oh. So, and that movie, as you guys know, when I was 6 or 7 years old, just terrified the crap out of me. It gave me nightmares. Now, that's good sci-fi and horror. Unfortunately, the reason none of those ships, the props, exist anymore is because they were made out of, I believe, brass in the 50s, and I guess there was a bit of a brass shortage, and the Boy Scouts had a brass drive, and the studio donated the brass to them, so it was melted down. So although there are some fiberglass ones from the television show that remain, which don't do anything, they're literally like a fixed model. None of them from the original movie, and there were a lot of electronics in there. I mean, the things could articulate. They really put a lot of work into that, and it shows. But to me, part of the casting was great. I think Gene Barry did a good job. But to me, the best character of the movie was Les Tremayne as the general, who's sort of overseeing what's going on, and he's one of those guys that has an incredible stage presence. And they also had Paul Frees as the reporter who's narrating into the tape recorder, makes the famous line, the future of mankind, if any. And Paul Frees, as I'm sure most of you guys know, is a voiceover for a lot of the cartoon characters, like the Bullwinkle show and that stuff. So he was a famous voiceover guy. Yeah, I agree. The first one with Gene Barry, and don't get me, and I love the one with Tom Cruise. I think it's a great movie. But I've read a lot of stuff about the making of War of the Worlds, and it and the Godzilla, the original Godzilla, have something in common that just popped into my mind. I never thought about this before. Both of them, to add realism and to save money, the film crews, and I'm not talking about stock footage, the film crews went out and filmed during real military exercises. In Japan, they went out, the military was doing exercises, so they went out and filmed the military exercises and spliced it in with the movie. But those are real cannons being hoisted, those are real machine guns firing. And the same thing when they went out and did the scene where they first take on the Martians, the scene with the tanks running everything, that was a real, they were out at a real, I think it was a Marine Corps, it was Army Reserve or Marine or National Guard or Marine Corps Reserve bivouac.
Max,
yeah.
You're kind of cutting out.
Okay, let me move a little closer to this. Let's see, I'm going to put this a little closer also. I need something to put this on. Here we go. Real sophisticated. I'm going to set the communicator up on my glass. Whoa! And don't ask what just happened.
The battery in the communicator going bad?
No. Oh, come back here. It's got that little flip-off stand. It immediately went into my drinking water.
Oh!
Let's try this one more time because I'm too stupid to look for something else. There we go. All right. Can you guys hear us better?
I don't know. Maybe it was just me. I was having a hard time hearing you. I don't see any comments about it.
Okay. Well, anyway,
You're still doing it.
I don't... Guys, can you give us a quick voice check? Is, Bullwinkle is from Frostbite Falls, Minnesota. All right, so anyway, one thing I can do is can turn the sensitivity up just a little bit there. All right, so anyway, no doubt about it. So okay, the sound is better, great. So anyway, the using the real military exercises added an authentic feel, and they had to do everything. They had to set up the cameras without getting in the way of the military. And the military knew they were there and they were cooperating, but they were like, okay, all the vehicles are going to be moving this way if you want to set your shot up. So apparently when they're running through the tanks and everything, those are real, I think Marine reservists, out doing a real thing. And it's like, yeah, if we got the wrong way, they'd have run over us. So Ken has taters in his ears. Can
I nominate the what I think the best science fiction movie is?
Sure.
Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
Okay, that's good as any of them, I suppose.
Especially what was the name of the robot? He was always depressed.
I want to say Guilty Spark, but that's Halo. Somebody knows. I'll write it down here in a second.
Right.
But let's see here. And this was one of my dad's favorite episodes of Twilight Zone. And he made one of the funniest comments when I'm sure you guys remember this one. And and if anybody doesn't know the story behind this, let us know and we'll tell you. But that's Agnes Moorehead from Bewitched. And of course, that's the C-57D from Forbidden Planet being reused. But it's pretty much what the picture shows, sort of. But the part about it that that was so great was, again, it says your voice is buzzing a bit. Godzilla versus the Three Stooges.
It's going both ways. You're cutting in and out, and he's saying my voice is buzzing. What do you hear? Oh,
you sound okay over the phone, but I'm not having, it's going from phone to microphone. At some point, we're going to have to get a real professional, someday when I die, I want to donate my body to science fiction. Oh, you have the Gorgo kit. Yeah, that's, they're not making any more of those. I don't think Monarch's coming back. Yeah, the Invader Twilight Zone was one of the best. And I had never seen it. My dad was telling us a story. And he talks about the part where she, bangs one around in the blanket and then chops you with the axe. Or my brother saw about it. And without batting an eye, my dad just goes, well, leave it to Cleaver. Yeah. And I haven't even thought of starting my C57D yet. Intimidating. I haven't seen the kit. I wouldn't have thought there'd been that many parts to it, but I don't know. But Serling had, I think he'd served in, oh crap, I think it was the Pacific. He'd been an Army paratrooper, and in fact, that famous photo of him where he's there with a cigarette, you notice a bracelet has his paratrooper wings on it. And he had a very, he died young. He was only in his 50s, I think. But he had a very dark view of things because of what had happened to him during the war. He'd seen a friend killed in an airdrop gone bad. He was hit by some, I think, a pallet that was dropped from an airplane. And the things he just saw stuff that stayed with him. So when he came back and started working on this, he kind of reached into the dark place. He did something creative with it. He's an inveterate smoker, which is why he died at a very young age, like 50-something.
I was just going to say, that explains that one particular episode where those Army guys were out in the jungle, and this one guy could see when somebody else was going to die.
That was yeah. Yeah. In fact, his commanding officer was Dick York from Bewitched. And you would see the light illuminate on them. Yeah, they did a lot of them where he would wake up and he was in a Japanese officer's body and he's seeing it from the other side. Werner Klemper, I think it was, Colonel Klink is this U-boat commander who was on a ship that he sank, and that was his hell. It kept going over and over and over again. And it was he knew how to reach into the dark places. The famous one, William Shatner, Terror at 20,000 feet or whatever it was, with the monkey on the wing or whatever that creature was. And the thing is, a lot of people think the most horrifying, creepiest episode was The Monster, which was the one with Billy Mumy as the child with omnipotent powers, basically a childlike Q. And there's something about that one that was just really horrifying. He could take the most mundane things and just make them so dark. It was a gift, if you can call that a gift. Yeah, the creature on the wing was a gremlin.
He did a lot of ironing, which is how things, that was popular back then.
Yeah, irony. Yeah.
Remember the show The Outer Limits?
Oh yeah, another great one. None of the remakes. The only thing, I don't think any of the remakes of The Outer Limits or Twilight Zone have been as good as the originals. They haven't been bad. They just haven't been as good. I guess just not as original. But Dark Mirror or Black Mirror has been outstanding. That's actually lived up to the original tradition. But my humble opinion. Have you seen that, Ken? Dark Mirror or Black Mirror?
See what?
Have you seen Black Mirror?
No, I have not.
Okay, it's basically a modern Twilight Zone, and it's excellent. Serling was in the Philippines. Okay, I thought he was in the Pacific. Demon with a glass hand, Demon with a glass hand, and that the girl in that was what's her name, who played T'Pring, Martell, and she passed away recently. Beautiful woman, and but she did a great. I mean, she only had two science fiction, to my knowledge, only two sci-fi appearances, but both of them she was in are memorable and excellent to this day. Of course, it's T'Pring, Spock's betrothed, and Demon with a Glass Hand. And I'm like, the woman may not have had a lot of science fiction credits, but the ones she had were top shelf. And yeah, it's a cookbook. Yeah, To Serve Man. And, the Twilight Zone models, I don't even know if there is a Twilight Zone model, because it's certainly, you could do the character from To Serve Man. I mean, there's a bunch of characters you could do from Twilight Zone, especially in your figurines. That might have been something that the guys at Aurora missed out on. But, Again, I got this one from the Box Art Den. I want to make sure I give them credit for that. Let's see. What else do I made a few of the image. But what is it? What is it you guys? I think you'll all appreciate this. That's some fan art that I found. I just matched up. But hey, man, make the Corellian dockyards. Come on. I mean, that's like, that'd be awesome. That'd be a heck of a day. In fact, you could kit bash together something like that. If you get a model Millennium Falcon, you could really make something pretty awesome. That'd probably be a winner at a model contest just for originality. I got this off, I think, DeviantArt, but the Corellian dockyard.
Well, it's kind of dark a little bit there, but it is amusing.
I don't know. It's just being hauled up for maintenance.
I mean, nobody wants to see the Millennium Falcon trashed.
Well, that's not necessarily the Falcon. That's just a YT-1300. They made a lot of them. It's a very popular freighter. Han just hot-rodded his out. I mean, let's face it. Han, Luke, Leia, I stand by what the guy said. It's American graffiti in space. Bunch of teenagers in a hot rod running around giving the finger to the man. But that'd be a cool diorama. I noticed most of the box art I made were kind of like diorama base included. I'm like, did not realize I have a thing for doing dioramas. And
if you really wanted to do American graffiti as Star Wars, somebody would tie some chains onto the back end of a TIE fighter and went as the.
Oh, wait a minute! Didn't Poe Dameron do that when him and Finn tried to steal one?
I don't remember. Did they?
Well, it was still like hooked to the umbilical, so he had trouble ripping away. And talk about American graffiti in space. How about, that's right. You see, Ken, I'm talking to you faster than the picture appears. Everyone else is seeing it in real time. But the Milano does a bank job on Coruscant and gets chased off by TIE fighters. I'm still waiting for the picture to update. There we go. The Coruscant heist.
Charger on the speeder. That would be cool.
But
oh yes, Guardians of the Galaxy fighting TIE fighters.
yeah. Rocket tripped the alarm, and so now they're having to run for their lives from Coruscant.
That's pretty good, Max.
Thank you. Now, mind you, these are pictures that I found that I modified with stuff. I did not do. I just cobbled it together. I did not do any of the actual artwork. But again, that'd probably be a hot seller, and because people love both of them, Star Wars and Guardians of the Galaxy, that'd be a crossover everybody would love. And I got another.
With Darth Vader's ship in there.
Yeah. Now, if you want to get into the greatest sci-fi of all time, I mean, just none better. Of course, you got to go with Green Slime. I mean, oh, wait a minute. Sorry, guys, wrong picture. Let me remove that. That is the, what do you call it? That was the, lobby card. That was a lobby card. Okay, let me find, which, really, I didn't modify that much, but, here it is. By Aurora. There you go. The Green Slime model. And it doesn't even use box art. Aurora sometimes got cheap and you just used photographs.
What is that?
What is that? It's a green slime. You've never seen the green slime. Oh, I'm sorry, Ken. It's going to be, again, I forget. It's taking about 12. There it goes. You see it now? Are you there?
Okay. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. That is a modified lobby card from the Green Slime made up to like box art. But of course, it includes a monster, astronaut, and diorama base and wall. in 1/20th.
I can only hear about half of what you're saying.
Okay. Really? Okay.
It's not that you're not loud enough. It just cuts in and out.
Okay, you know what? I'm going to quit using the communicator and go straight to the phone. This may hang up on you. If it does, I'll call you back.
Communication terminated.
Okay, everything's fine. Everything's fine. Never mind all the thumping sounds. Jesus. Good move, Max. Everything's fine. Everything's fine. All right, Ken, let's try it now. Whoops. He's actually got to answer the phone.
All right, what are you laughing at?
I was talking to you and I hadn't let the phone ring yet. Can you hear me better now?
Well, so far you're doing good. We'll see how long this lasts.
Oh, maybe the battery in the communicator was getting weak.
Somebody said the phone is hilarious.
Oh, yeah, you were... well, of course... Oh, hold on.
All right.
No, let me turn the blue... Are you still there?
I'm still here.
Okay. I turned the communicator off. I want to make sure it wouldn't disconnect on you. All right. Okay. I've got the Bluetooth turned off. I've got the... Okay, so we're back. We're operational again.
Yeah,
can you guys give them a voice check, Ken? Because I'm using a different setup now.
Okay, checking. 1, 2, 3, 3, 1, 2, 1. Checking.
And he's checking. Helps if I turn the bass around back. There we go. All right. Okay, so the green slime. I would buy that diorama. You've never seen the movie The Green Slime? Seriously.
Actually, no, I never did.
Green slime, the green slime. Only the best theme song ever.
Seriously?
It is the best. It is the best and worst of Italian science fiction. And it is one of those movies that really takes itself so seriously. And that's half the fun. It's just, you look at it, you don't know whether to laugh or cry, but you're really enjoying yourself. And in the end, that's what matters, right? You know, it's just like a model. You know, this APC I'm working on has been giving me a little bit of trouble. Nothing too serious, but a lot of work. But a lot of you guys have said that, you know, you prefer models that don't fall together like a Tamiya kit. You want something that's got a little aggravation to it to make you hone your skills. When everything just goes together, it's almost more like assembly than actual building. And
Steve says I sound like I'm on the Artemis capsule on his way to the moon.
Well, you just have the little beep at the end of every transmission. I don't have anything better to put this thing on.
Yes, it's Artemis, yes. But I wasn't going to say anything. I figured, what do you know?
I'm sorry. Every time they say Artemis, I keep thinking of the Wild Wild West, you know, Jim and Artie.
Okay.
You know. Hey, didn't they make a kit model of Jim West and Artemis Gordon?
I have no idea. They may have made one in that walking steam-powered spider thing that they had.
You mean in the movie?
Was it the movie or the last show?
The one with Will Smith as Jim West?
Was it Will Smith? Yeah, I guess it was.
Okay, that movie is dead to me. The same reason
What did it do to offend you so
the same
badly?
reason the American Godzilla is. There's so much wrong with that movie. But the thing that was really worst about it, and I could pick off stuff day and night, but the thing that's really bad about it, the green slime's Italian. The Japanese may have been involved, but it was an Italian, I don't want to say an Italian production. It might have been a Japanese-Italian co-production. But that's the reason it had, what's her name? The girl that was in there was Italian. And I don't think she spoke English. I think she had to learn her line. It's been a while since I've read the trivia on it. But anyway, I think it might have been a Japanese-Italian co-production. But still, you look at it, oh my God, the bad chroma key and everything. And the astronauts are, the actors are just all taking it so seriously. And the thing is, it's really a good premise for a movie. It's kind of Aliens before there was Aliens. But I remind everyone that the alien in Aliens, the green slime in the Green Slime, Godzilla, King Kong, Frankenstein, most of these creatures are not, even though we see them as the monsters, they're the victims. They were happy being, Frankenstein was perfectly happy being dead, and the green slime was living on its little asteroid, and Godzilla was happy at the bottom of the sea, and Kong on his island, and so on and so forth, until people started meddling. And somehow we still managed to portray ourselves as the good guys.
I don't know about that in Alien. They were on a rescue mission, and the thing popped out and jumped into somebody.
Well, that's because of the engineers that had created them. But the thing I'm getting at is that the alien was just doing what the alien does. He's like Jaws. The shark isn't evil. It's just a shark. That's like being mad at a cat for being a cat, which I imagine all of us have been at some point. But or
a Max for being a Max.
Yeah, by golly, it's my excuse. I'm sticking to it. But no, you have some creatures like Pennywise and some of the others that are they're just mean, but a lot of these are just creatures that are just doing. The green slime did not ask to get pulled off of its asteroid, stuck in a radiation bath, and turned into whatever that is, any more than the Triffids did in Day of the Triffids, which was a movie as a kid. I saw it at the theater and I had a little trouble wrapping my head around, but I was like, I don't know if I like this movie or not, but I'm going to say I do. I really don't understand why people aren't just running away. They're freaking plants, but,
And the Blob?
The Blob was just being a blob. And
we could go there.
The thing about the Blob was everybody said, it's about this fat gelatinous thing that eats everything in sight. And I'm kind of like, hey, is that a dig? Are you making fun of me?
I didn't say it. I did not say it.
I just thought I'd beat you to it. But
Triffids? What's Triffids?
Day of the you never seen Day of the Ken? I'm going to have to give you some vintage sci-fi education. We're going to spend a weekend together watching movies. Takes a phaser to kill a Triffid, but unfortunately they didn't have phasers. Basically a meteor shower with some kind of special radiation blinds everybody and activates the Triffids and makes them sentient hunters that start eating all the blind people.
What's a Triffid?
It's a plant, like I guess a flower or something. I know one thing, after watching that movie, I'll never bloody well have one. God, that movie made me terrified of frickin' plants.
Like in Little Shop of Horrors?
No, that was a comedy. Oh, you know what the Triffids was? No, you know what? Just think of Day of the Triffids as Little Shop of Horrors taken seriously. Okay. Now, I will tell you one thing, though, getting back to the War of the Worlds. The tripods and the Steven Spielberg one from 2005, which were more akin to the original book, were wonderfully done and truly terrifying.
Stop the presses. Stop the presses.
What?
Just got a news flash here.
What?
Green Slime was filmed in Japan by a Japanese director. The story was written by Western writers.
All right. Okay. The challenge accepted. All right, the green slime. So I'm trying to figure out where I got my Italian connection then. All right, 68. And the thing is, you realize this movie was 68. You look at the green slime. This movie was made around the same time as like 2001. And they're just a war. Yeah, this is Japanese. Yeah. Okay, let's see. Okay, and now it's time for my other glasses.
All right, Chili Billy, what is the greatest line ever in a science fiction movie?
Oh my gosh, there's so many to choose from, but
I'm just curious.
I'm just going to go with, I am here to kick ass and chew bubble gum, and I am all out of bubble gum. The film was shot in Japan with okay, nine. Luciana Paluzzi, okay. Production. Metro-Goldwyn Toei. Shoot the film. MGM provided the funding and the script while Toei provided the film crew to shoot the film. Good God, MGM, I thought they picked it up afterwards. I didn't realize they actually had their fingers in this mess. It was a Sackville Crow, Terror Beneath the Sea. Shot in Japan with predominantly Asian film crew and Western actors. living in Japan at the time, so they just grabbed every Occidental they could get to throw them in the set.
Attack of the 60-foot Ken.
Okay, well, I'm not above admitting when I'm wrong. I stand corrected. I was certain that it was a. It's been a while since I read the show. I must be conflating it with some other movie, because it definitely has more of a Japanese feel than an Italian feel. Because I saw some other Italian sci-fi that was somewhat reminiscent of it. Actually, it was a lot worse. Ken, this movie, I know you don't drink, but this movie is really fun when you've been drinking.
I'll take your word for it.
But now it's a kind of movie that it's just fun to sit there and just get your popcorn, suspend reality, and not take seriously. The thing is, the premise is not unlike Aliens at all. I mean, it's actually, I'm not saying that Aliens copied the Green Slime storyline, but there are a lot of parallels. And, guys go down to a planet, get something, they bring something back that takes off and winds up eating everything in sight and killing and this and that. And they wind up having to bail out of the ship, and leave it behind. And they better hope that stuff burned up, because I was like, I watched in that movie where the space station deorbits and comes flaming down. Like, yeah, I'm not going to bank on that being 100% guaranteed to have killed all that stuff, because all this came from one little bit that was left on somebody's uniform. So, yeah, I don't think the problem's over. There should be a sequel. What would be fun is do a serious sequel to that movie and just assume the original is the original and keep a little of the aesthetic, and that'd be a lot of fun.
Spaceball, seriously? You take that as serious science fiction?
It's still science fiction. It's not serious science fiction, but comedy is sci-fi too.
Yeah, there were some funny parts in it, but mostly it was...
No, but the point is, it's still science fiction, even though it's comedy.
All right.
I mean, it's parody. It's parody. But,
Oh, I know it was a parody. That was obvious. I mean, the the key to the atmosphere is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The same as on his luggage. Go change my luggage combination.
Now, here's another kid idea for the Kaiju gift set. Destroy your hometown. And I guarantee you, I will wager you right now, $50 and a box of donuts, that if someone who had the rights to this manufactured this kit, they would sell 1 million copies.
Steve, are you listening?
Especially in Japan.
Is Steve listening?
Yeah, Steve's there.
I just want to make sure. I mean, you're bringing out this $1 million idea. I just want to make sure he's listening.
But I'm telling you, that's a winner. First off, if you could just make a model of Mechanicon, you'd sell 35,000 of them, just because there's a lot of people already who remember the movie. And I remember watching that movie, and the thing that I remember most, the scene that just, it was such an, because I saw it in the theater as a kid when it first came out. And I remember hiding behind the seat and, shoving popcorn in my mouth, while watching Kong trying to break through the wall and thinking, hey, I want one of those walls installed in our house. And I was like, why is this idiot machine, Kong, dropping these bombs right under his own feet? I mean, I was 8 years old and I was already questioning it, but the scene I love is when the tanks pull up and was it Rhodes Reason or no, don't shoot, and you see the tank commander pop the hatch and peek out, and they get the order to back up, they close, and they just haul ass. Like, that's what I would have done. Discretion's the greater part of valor. And then when they climb, though, I guess it's the Tokyo Tower, I'm like, where does he think he's going?
Yeah, King Kong definitely looks unhappy.
But
there's something bothering him.
There's something about that movie that I just loved. I don't know what it was. Maybe it was the models, the miniature work, or just the silliness of the whole thing. It's just the goofy looking helicopters. I mean, it was just about as 60s as 60s, kaiju flicks got. And, but a lot of people remember it. And they had the same reaction I did. It was fun. And they'd buy that kit in a heartbeat. And there was something produced on it. It might have been a Resin Garage kit. But it's yeah, the Godzilla vs. Kong that just came out was better than it was kind of what I hoped it would be. And
Pizza the Hut.
pizza. Oh yeah, from yeah.
A monster you can eat.
But you know, I'm only half jesting though. I really think that if you made a kit like this, that it'd fly off the shelves for the novelty, if no other reason. And it's got what every kaiju and sci-fi, you know, and fantasy person loves. And four of the most popular creatures, and you know, the fact that it's a gift set.
Hey, Fast Sports there, just joined us.
Hey, John, glad you made it. So let's look at another one. Let's see what else did I. And now this is I stole from. I'm sorry, I borrowed from Box Art Den. This is.
Steve says it was the girl, Max, the girl.
Well, Kong is a male, and she's very attractive. I'm like, I don't think that's how interspecies relationships work, but I'm gonna go with it. I mean, I'm sitting here watching a kaiju movie about a 100-foot tall ape. I can't get too serious about the technical details. Now, this is from the Box Art Den. And believe it or not, this is actually how a lot of people in the 50s and maybe the early 60s thought, you know, this is what 2001 was supposed to look like. And thanks to Elon and Virgin Galactic, it may still, you never know.
Actually, NASA had a design very similar to that.
Well, that's where they got the idea for the kit. But I'll tell you right now, of course, this was something I think somebody put together from probably a NASA proposal or Collier's or something. But I'll tell you right now, though, I again, that's a kit that I would buy. And it just, I don't know, it's got that Gee Whiz 50s cool factor to it. And kind of Fireball XL5.
That's one of my favorite shows. I'm sure if I went back and looked at it now, I'd be like, oh, I used to like this.
Well, we also used to be children. We didn't used to shave. And we thought girls were icky.
Yeah, true.
You know, so times change. Ugh.
The giant claw with a B-25.
Oh, hold on. Don't get ahead.
Uh-oh. Paul's reading your mind.
Hate it when I forget to turn off the telemetry transmitter. And everything in my brain goes out to the public. People have been known to go blind from that. The claw.
Hey, Bill Campbell's with us.
Hey, Bill. The giant claw. I actually went and watched this movie on YouTube not too long ago. And son of a gun, it was every bit as bad as I thought it was. And again, not the worst premise on Earth. Vaguely reminiscent of, was it Deadly Mantis? But Deadly Mantis was far more, and I can't believe I'm about to use this word, realistic.
Oh yeah, far more realistic.
Hell, as much as you can go with something like that. But this movie was just pretty much bad on every level. And I tell you what, they kept a local hobby shop in business buying all the B-25s and DC-3s and F-102s this thing had to eat. And God, I hate it when they blow up kit models to look like real aircraft. And I mean, they just split down the seams. Yeah, I do not think that works how you think that works. But anyway, it was the 50s. That giant claw. First off, he uses his beak to tear this stuff up. And where did they get that giant claw? Oh, never mind. Where am I? Why am I going down the rabbit hole with this?
Because that's what you do.
It's my superpower. Now, there is one that I made a box art for that I can almost guarantee you I would not buy. And that one. Nothing against, I mean, I like the franchise. I'm just like, yeah, I just don't really think I'd want that on my shelf. I don't know. Maybe I'd go ahead and get it and do it just for, but it just somehow yeah. Well, it's nice box art.
Yeah, XL5 did have a cool launching pad. That was cool.
It was. But I don't know how many. I don't know. Maybe I'm being too hard on it. Maybe it would have a following because the show has a following, but it's just hard to get realistic looking sand suspended in the air. Now, another million seller kit that I came up with, which I know everybody out there, and this is probably going to start a fanboy riot, but
there's only 3 lobes on there.
On the worm, yeah. Well, some of the art has different stuff. All right, everybody, stand by your keyboards. Prepare to take sides. There's going to be a fanboy riot after I post this.
Somebody says there's a resin kit of the sandworm based on the movie from the 1990s.
Probably is. It's the resin kit of everything. In 3, 2, 1, 0. Ignition. Come on. All right. Also, when is this thing going to upload? Man, we got quite the lag tonight. There we go. That is, all right. Light up the keyboards, boys and girls. Place your bets.
Ooh. How about the Death Star versus the Borg cube?
Yeah, I probably should have gone with that. I didn't even think about it, to be honest. But the idea, well, still, it's not a bad idea. Of course, I don't know. The Borg are not interested in joining forces with anybody, so, and yeah, it would be interesting how the Force would work on them.
Frisbee versus soccer ball.
I knew this was gonna. I'm just gonna start reading the comments. We're on autopilot at this point.
Barry just said what I just said. Borg cube versus Death Star sphere. Yeah.
Leave Picard in the ladies' lounge.
The Orville, best Trek on TV.
It sadly is. Beats the hell out of Discovery, but then so does anything. I thought about Battlestar Galactica versus Babylon 5, but I was like, yeah, it's a Battlestar versus a space station. That's not a fight. That's a massacre.
Leave Picard in the ladies' lounge?
Yeah, I should put that on the internet and just there's the famous meme of the Enterprise A going after facing off a Imperial cruiser, and it's like, place your bets. There'll be fanboy riots after this one.
Here's Kudakilli. Says, well, if it was a Star Trek original series, we'd have said how this turns out. Stormtroopers open fire on red shirts. Every shot misses. Red shirts die anyway.
Oh, come on. You know what? You just made me think of something, Ken. You know what a stormtrooper is?
What?
He's a red shirt in Tupperware.
Ooh, good point.
I'm going to make friends with that one.
Those people can't shoot worth a darn.
Hey,
I guess you can't see in those things.
When we watch a movie and somebody shoots and misses, we always go, I must have gone to the Stormtrooper Academy of Marksmanship.
Diane says, hard to say love them both. I agree with Ken. Bring on the Borg.
Yeah. Model of a Borg cube. A bunch of uncooked spaghetti and green and gray paint.
Well, look at it this way. Whoever loses, we win.
Ah! Oh, God. And I thought you guys would get a kick out of that one. I might wonder what would happen if some of the aliens got loose.
Bill Campbell says there is a vid on how the Death Star versus a Borg cube. the Borg would eventually win due to the time it takes to recharge the super laser.
If they swarmed them with ships, yeah. Now, I'm not entirely sure why I did this next one, because it's actually been made. I just thought, oh, you know, how about it? And I'm like, wait a minute, they actually make that kit, so I'm not sure really why I bothered to redo it.
Ooh, here you go. George Taylor says, trivia. Who is the only star to be on both Star Wars and Star Trek?
The only star to be in Star Wars and Star Trek.
Yeah. I didn't know there was one.
Well, both of them has had so many actors on board, it's, you know, it doesn't really shock me. Okay, who is it? Oh, Billy D. Williams.
Ah. What did he play in Star Trek? Do you know?
There's a great recruiting video of Fort Worth PD where stormtroopers trying to pass weapons qualification. I might have seen that. Let's see. So there is one other that I came up with. I just found some nice deviant artwork and slapped the logos on it. But I don't think this was ever made, and it's the kind of thing, you know, we might buy. Tom Cruise flick, Edge of Tomorrow. You know, the mech suit was pretty cool. And,
I thought that was a pretty cool movie.
Yeah, actually, so did I. The picture will show in about 15 seconds. But
kind of an interesting play on Groundhog Day.
Yeah, yeah. The Save the World military version of Groundhog Day. But anyway, the image should be up now. But that's something I could see myself buying and building. And make a cool display. Get yourself a large enough figure, you probably kit bash something.
Darth Vader assimilated by the Borg would be terrifying, though.
Imagine Grand Moff Tarkin. The Borg try to assimilate him. He's so mean that he winds up scaring them away. I don't know. They might use the Force to kill the little nanobots. You know, it's always a possibility. Maybe the Force. They might be able to Force choke or Force control the drones. Who knows? So
someone should make a red shirt recruiting video. Wear the shirt, see the star, see the galaxy.
Well, that's kind of what Daryl's song was about in a way. But well, those are the ones that I had put together for tonight's thingy. I hope everybody got a
You
kick
know what
out
else
of that.
may be cool?
What?
Is the external skeleton from Aliens that they use to move freight around.
They made that. That's a Halcyon kit.
Really?
Ripley's power loader. Yeah, that's a 1/12 scale Halcyon kit. In fact, I went and looked at a couple of videos. One guy, God bless him, is actually putting servos in it to make it work, make a remote out of it.
Oh wow, that would be cool.
Yeah, Barry says midichlorians versus nanobots. Now there's the real fight. Heck, if I make a box art for that, that's going to have to be the tagline: midichlorians versus nanobots.
Oh yeah, there you go. Tom Cruise's helicopter from Oblivion.
Yeah, that would be a good one. Oh, actually, that's been made. I'm pretty sure there's a kit of that out there. And well, I happen to have access to the interweb. Let me just check ScaleMates real quick. Yeah, I put in the word Oblivion.
See, it was such a good idea. Somebody already made the kit.
There you go. Yeah, it's by Fantastic Plastic, so it's a resin. It's called the Bubble Ship. And it figures Alan Urey would make it. That guy, I don't think there's anything out there that he doesn't make. He's pretty incredible in that regard. He has the master's cut, the box art done, and
Ooh. Now there's, okay, Robert Austin just brought up a really good point. Other than 3D printed or resin, haven't seen any of the ships from the Expanse. That would be something I would buy.
I saw the Rocinante, but I'm pretty sure it was some kind of garage kit resin. But that's about the only one. And
but you can 3D print one. I would love to get those files.
Maybe the one I saw might have been 3D printed, but I think it was resin. And okay.
Nanoprobe's assimilation of midichlorians.
I just oh, there it is. Good Lord. There we go. Yep, there's the bubble ship from Fantastic Plastic. You'll see it in about 10 seconds.
Okay.
It always reminded me of a Bell 47 helicopter. And it's a cool ship, though. It's great. It's good design. It's actually a fairly practical design. I assume that's some kind of anti-grav unit on it. But there you go. Now you can see it. But that kind of, I don't know. I think it's one of the cooler sci-fi vehicles. I mean, it has a real-world feel to it. I think it's very well designed.
Where's the lift? I don't see it.
The what?
The lifting blade. I don't see it.
No. I think those are anti-gravity pods sticking out the sides.
Ooh, and why does it have a tail fan?
Probably some kind of directional grav control or something that may go left and right. One to lift and propulse it, the other one for steering. I think they wanted the helicopter the Bell 47 look, you know.
Chili Billy goes, awesome, eBay, here I come.
You can just go to Fantastic Plastic and order directly from him. He usually only makes about 50 at a run because, you know, there's specialties. He has to make a new mold if he can use the same pattern, but he has to make a new mold. These pattern makers are incredibly talented guys.
Yeah, it does look a little bit like an Optica.
Yeah, the Optica Observer. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I've got one of those in the stash. That's when we get around to the ugly airplane build, that's gonna be one of my entries.
Oh, we need a model of Max in his red shirt. From Garfield.
Just shave any Santa. But well, guys, that was the sci-fi stuff. I don't think I really had much else that I had prepared. But so, what say you all about your sci-fi stuff? What's your first off? Just right, real quick. What is your favorite kind of sci-fi? Is it space, futurism, kaiju, monsters? You know, because everybody, you know, science fiction encompasses so much.
Well, science fiction is basically what if.
Yeah, more or less.
Yeah. If you want to describe the whole genre, just saying it's what if.
Because when you look at something like Ripley's APC from Aliens, which, by the way, that was made from an airport airliner tug for heavy airliners. But you look at something like that, and that looks like something you could see. So it's so in tune with. It looks like something you could see riding down the street today. It would not shock me if you drove one of those across a battlefield in Ukraine today. It wouldn't even draw attention. You know, and the same for their drop ship and the just all the stuff. It's really good.
Did somebody make one of those?
What do you mean?
That thing is showing up with the armored personnel carrier. Somebody actually made that, or is that one of your fantasy things?
No. That's Halcyon. That's the one I'm working on right now.
Gotcha. Okay.
That is this kit that I was just working on before we started the live stream.
Does the gun turret slide up from the back?
If you were to get some wire, because the rails are missing. I don't know why. I don't know if I somehow lost them or what happened, but the rails are missing. But in the movie it does. and I think it worked. Actually, I think they actually made it work. You could engineer something where they could slide up and down. I'll probably just put it in the up position. But they got an old airport tug and slapped wood on it and everything to make it look like that. Of course, the people weren't inside because it's all engine in there. But somebody said they think someone made an interior for it, but I'm like, why? I mean, the whole thing's completely sealed up unless you want to cut out a door or something. But it's got a lot of rough fits and everything. Halcyon was never known for making the greatest kits, but they made some of the most interesting stuff, like Ripley's loader. And you just can't. I mean, just nobody else seemed to be interested in making it. But you can see by all the Bondo I got in there. And
oh, yeah. Lance brings up a good point. The Aliens APC would never work on a battlefield, no ground clearance.
Realistic. I assume that the wheels would have some sort of pneumatic system to elevate the vehicle, a foot or two. But he's right about off-roading it. Unless it had tracks on its belly, it would have to have more ground clearance over a lot of types of terrain. But then again, it was also made to be like air-droppable, so size was a huge issue, height and weight and everything. But I'm assuming that it has, like the Swedish S-Tank, that it has pneumatics that would elevate it if it needed to be.
Or maybe it was only designed to work in industrial areas.
Nah. I think you get right down to it, what it was designed to do was look cool on camera. That's all it was designed to do.
Fast Sports says that thing looks like a Pontiac Aztec that went to college.
Well, speaking of cars and stuff, that brings us something we haven't talked about yet, and that's science fiction cars. And you know what? I know it sounds a little silly, but if one wanted to, they could even include the Batmobile as a science fiction car. But you've got Supercar, and the Mach 5 from Speed Racer, but the cars from Logan's Run, and we always get hung up on spaceships and stuff, but there are a lot of sci-fi cars out there, and of course the two famous ones from the TV show UFO, Ed Straker and Paul Foster's cars. Now I realize they were just supposed to be stylized cars, nothing particularly just the style was supposed to be futuristic. But so you guys tell me what are some of the cooler sci-fi cars that have been out there that you think are? Of course, the DeLorean from Back to the Future, probably one of the most famous sci-fi cars out there.
A lot of people made replicas of their own out of that car.
And some people tell me that's the best thing you can do with a DeLorean. It gives it a purpose.
Well, it didn't have that great of an engine in it. Herbie the Love Bug.
I'm going to put that more in the supernatural category. I don't know if I'd call that sci-fi.
Yeah.
But
vehicles from Mad Max.
There you go.
That's some pretty crazy stuff.
DeLorean
only follows white
lines. That's wrong on so many levels, but that's good. Hey, don't forget only the greatest sci-fi cars ever from Roger Corman's Death Race. All the great things, also known as all the cool things you can do with a Volkswagen.
What about that Trans Am that could talk? Kit.
There you go. Now there's a famous sci-fi car, Kit and Car, and I made a diorama of them that's in the car bus right now. Car. Yeah, and the one over at Trans Ams of Florida. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually put a video out there of my visit there. He had Bandit 1, not a sci-fi car, but he had the Mach 5 replica. He had the Kit car replica, complete with sound and everything. Man, the work that went into that. Let's see. What are those? Chitty Chitty. You know what? Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. Yeah, I guess you'd have to. Death Race 2000, you had lots of wild cars, yeah. The Warthog from Halo, there you go. Oh, the Spectrum Patrol car, yeah, Captain Scarlet. See,
Oh, cars from the Blade Runner. They had some pretty cool looking cars.
yeah,
No
yeah.
wheels.
Actually, they didn't call them cars. They called them hover somethings. I forget. But somebody actually made a model of those, I think, and it may have been Fantastic Plastic or somebody. There are a handful of companies out there, Fantastic Plastic and Anagrand, that make so much off-the-wall stuff. Fantastic Plastic, Sci-fi. Anagrand is a lot of like later post-war what-if aircraft, the Germans were working with. And, they basically took all the paper designs they played with and just made models of them. And the Green Hornet car, yeah. Spinners, that's what they're called. Thank you, Chuck.
Would the Batmobile qualify? Well,
Yeah, I would say it would qualify. Yeah, Chuck was saying, yeah, that's right. In Blade Runner, they were called Spinners. But it was basically a car.
Yeah, a few people got that one.
Oh, Apostos brings up The Fifth Element. Corbin Dallas's Taxi. There's actually a resin kit.
He's not the only one. There's been a few people brought that one up.
Oh, okay. You're supposed to keep me up to speed on this, Ken.
I'm working on it.
It's your raison d'etre. The Automan TV show had the Automan car. And, if you want to get an animation, don't forget Mr. Incredible's car. Back, before he got married.
Hanging out in the bathroom.
Ken, we can hear you when you whisper.
What am I whispering about?
What you just said. Never mind. I don't want to repeat it. It's your bathroom. Anyway. The Highwayman with the helicopter.
I know. The Mach 5.
Ken, I said that was like the first car I said.
I didn't hear you say that.
There you are, sloughing off. The EM50
and we
Urban Assault Vehicle.
That one too.
Now, the EM50 Urban Assault Vehicle from Stripes doesn't really sci-fi. That's the kind of thing I could have seen somebody driving back then. Fab 1, anything. Yeah, all the cars from, like Fab 1 from,
the Corvair. The Corvair from what? Come on, Richard.
Yeah, the Highwayman where they had the truck with the built-in helicopter. And plop, plop, fizz, fizz. Oh, what a relief it is. God, we're telling on our age, guys. Cowboy Bebop. I don't know if I'd call that a car, but yeah. Not only a truck from Space Hunter, but what was the Pachyderm from Space Truckers? That's actually a spaceship, but still. God, that was such a bad movie. Lord.
Which one?
Space Truckers with the late Dennis Hopper. He's driving like a Pachyderm 5000 or something. James Bond's cars would count as science fiction, and ain't nothing that bulletproof. Lone Star is Eagle 5 Winnebago. Yeah.
Corvette from the movie
Heavy Metal. Yeah, re-enters Earth. Oh, Buckaroo Banzais. Well, yeah, with the oscillation overthruster. There's somebody that makes those things. You can buy them. They're like exactly identical to the little prop he had.
The Urban Assault vehicle from Stripes was essentially a GM RV.
I'm telling you right now, we could make an EM50. It just wasn't that, it was cool, though. Urban Assault vehicle. Well, I know Steve's favorite sci-fi car is Supercar because he built about a 30-pound model of it.
Oh, wow. That's serious.
Cars from THX 1138. Yeah. I had totally forgotten about that. Man from Uncle car. Yeah. All the spy car. Cherry 2000. I was just talking about that movie to somebody yesterday. Apparently, okay, I'm going to do what I always do and soar off on a tangent here, but I'll be extremely quick. I'm assuming Ken, have you seen Cherry 2000?
Seen what? 2000?
The movie with Melanie Griffith, Cherry 2000, one of her early movies.
Cherry?
Cherry, like you eat a cherry.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure. No.
Do you ever go to the movies? You haven't seen The Green Slime. You haven't seen Cherry 2000. You haven't. What was the other one you hadn't seen? Oh,
well, I didn't have a job where I was on reserve and I had to watch TV all day long.
Yeah, I saw all these as a kid. Well, most of them. Anyway. Oh, Lord. Cherry 2000 is sort of a quasi-post-apocalyptic movie. The economy's rebuilding. And you know what? It's just too much to get into. I'll tell you later. Everybody knows what it's about. Well, the point I was going to get at is that when girls and guys meet in bars in the movie, they actually sign contracts. You know, no more just hooking up and going to somebody's apartment. They actually sign contracts with lawyers that detail everything. And I want to say it was Lawrence Fishburne's first role anyway, he plays one of the lawyers. Anyway, everybody laughed at it. You know, this is a ridiculous look at the future. Well, apparently right now, and this is why I'm glad I'm 60 and not 20. Right now, as we speak, apparently that actually is becoming a thing in the real dating scene.
I'm not surprised.
Oh, well.
Oh, by the way, somebody asked about the motorcycle from Star Wars. Somebody did do one of those.
You're not talking about the land speeder.
No. It kind of resembles a motorcycle.
Oh, you're talking about the Imperial Stormtrooper speeders?
Yeah. Somebody was just asking about one of those.
Yeah, I think AMT or someone did a model of that.
Yeah, I remember seeing it.
The carts and the prisoner. Those were actually, I read that book on the prisoner. I forgot what they were, but those are actually real series. The British come up with some cool little vehicles.
Okay, Fast Sports has brought up a couple times, I guess he thinks this is important. What about GM show cars like the Firebird 1 and 2? Anybody know what those are?
Well, I'm not sure if that... weren't those were more concept cars, weren't they?
Yeah, well, that's what he was saying, yeah.
Oh, Robin's go-kart from the Bat Bike. Probably one of the most dangerous and insane things those guys ever came up with. And as if what I read was true, you watch the movie when they go out in the Batcopter, that really is Burt Ward on that little thing, and it pops and they go around the helicopter. He could barely control it. It scared the life out of him. And apparently, I mean, he was one slip away from going in the tail rotor. You would, oh Lord. Oh, land speeder model is coming out soon. Okay.
Oh, cool.
NPC did do the speeders. Yeah, okay. Lotus Super 7, number 6, John Drake. Judge Dredd's bike, and I think there is, I know there's a Judge Dredd kit somewhere. I think I saw the bike, but I'm not sure.
Somebody actually makes models of the pod racers from the Star Wars.
Mini Mokes, that's what it was. Mini Mokes for the prisoner. I couldn't remember what it was. Oh, the Landmaster in Damnation Alley, of course. How we could forget?
Oh yeah,
I saw that movie at the theater
so
with.
cool.
I saw that at the theater with my dad. That's still around. By the way, what's his name made that up? Oh, come on. Oh God, I know who.
Yeah,
not
I
Winfield. The other one.
A few years ago. It's still on somebody's lot.
I could kick myself. The one that just passed away. Not Winfield. The other famous Hollywood car maker. God, somebody's going to type it in there. I'm going to kick myself. Burt Ward was expendable. You know, everyone on the cast seemed to think that way. Huh?
He had a red shirt, too.
Yeah. Oh, God. Dean Jeffries. That's what Dean Jeffries built the Landmaster for Damnation Alley. And he said he probably made more money off that than just about anything else because he got it back. Thanks, Ricky. Now everybody's, it's all, but it kept getting hired for other stuff. And he said it was just a constant moneymaker. He'd take it to shows and stuff. He was always getting paid to take. The Landmaster was just it was one of the best ones he did from a money-making standpoint. It kept generating revenue. And somebody bought it from him for a pretty outrageous price, had it for a while. And oh, God, he was interviewed about this. I think he may have bought it back from him for a fraction of what he paid for it. I forget. But there is a Resendine Jaffrey's Landmaster. But that was not only a cool vehicle, but that 3-wheel rotating system really worked. I always wondered how they made that work for the movie. And he said, oh, no, we made it. It worked for real. And I said, that was awesome.
Landmaster in Red Dawn? No.
No, I saw a mocked up Zeus 23 that I think they used in also Flight of the Intruder. And, you drive around the Hollywood backlots or some of these people that contract car companies contract to Hollywood. You drive by, you see all these famous vehicles, just out in open air, overhangs and stuff, because there's just some of these military guys just have rows of Jeeps and trucks and stuff. Like, hey, look, when we ain't got the money for a garage and we're not using them, we just park them in the weather and paint them up when they need them for a movie. They're just, to them, they're just assets, they're industrial equipment, nothing more. I know the Landmaster was parked out of Jeffrey's shop. If you ever watch the movie The Wizard of Space and Time by, I'm going to say Mike Yankovic or something. Anyway, he's riding his bicycle, and I actually did a screen grab of it. He was actually a prop maker for Hollywood who wound up making an indie film. And he goes riding by, and as he's riding by, that's the Landmaster. He goes right past Jeffrey's garage, workshop. I'm like, that's the Landmaster. It was Dean Jeffries that painted Little Bastard on James Dean's 550 Spider. Interesting. Pod Racers by NBC. I actually have a Pod Racer that someone recently gifted me. That's on my Sci-fi build list. Got about the APC is on the table. Should be finished soon. But I've got about 6 models I'm going to do for the Sci-fi build. I want to add, because they're all stuff that I had wanted to add to my collection. The Star Fury and all that. It's cool stuff. I actually also went out and watched a couple of the Area 88 anime because I was gifted a couple of those models. And that was one of those things that you can really tell it's made by people that know something about and love aviation. It's kind of your typical anime plots, but the artwork and the attention to detail, and all that stuff. I was like, that's really, that's kind of cool. It's good. It's good escapism. Anybody remember Star Lost? That name sounds familiar. And
well, the Tron tanks. Which Tron are they talking about? The first one or the second one? I guess the first one, but they would be really simple. They were not complicated.
Guys, just type a simple yes, because you're talking about the Tron tanks. And always reminded me of that video game, one of the early video games. It was Battle Zone with the tanks. I played. Yep. In fact, you and I played it recently. We went down to what was that place, Silver Balls or wherever it was. It's an old arcade. You remember when we were in Delray?
Yeah, the Silver Balls.
And they had that old tank battle. I think it was Battle Zone was the name of it.
Uh-huh.
If you guys ever played that, just be yes, because that and Asteroids are 2 games that I just played incessantly. Never was any good at them, but I played it a lot.
Oh, now we're going to go off on video games.
Well, it was just that particular, those particular 2. That was, but the funny thing is Battlezone actually evolved into a tank simulator, and the military noticed that, this actually has some value. And that technology went into developing some of the modern tank simulators they still use today. A Cooper hockey helmet. Well, Fast Sports, you'll appreciate this. When I used to skydive back in my immortal youth, and yes, my dumbass used to jump out of reasonably serviceable helicopters for kicks and giggles.
And airplanes.
And airplanes. One of the helmets we had to because we were in the Army, we were required to wear a rigid helmet. And a lot of guys just had motorcycle crash helmets, but they're very heavy. They catch the wind. So to keep things light and meet the standard, we had a thing called frap hats, which weren't technically allowed, which were like little Russian tanker padded caps. But the two things that were popular were the Cooper hockey helmets and the Protec plastic helmets. I used a Protec. Although in these photos I'm wearing, because that's all club gear, I'm wearing a Bell crash helmet. But
getting a lot of yeses.
Yeah, I figured everybody had played that game. It was very popular.
I played it for a little while, but I just thought it was too predictable, personally.
Yeah, well,
the shots went right in between the turret and the body, which is the thinnest point of the tank. You couldn't hit the body itself.
Well, they also had the enemy driving wedge tanks, so So anyway, all right, guys.
Tempest was an interesting game. Very different.
I don't think I'm familiar with it.
That's the one with they formed circles and different patterns, and had this thing kind of look like a crab that went around the outer edge and dropped fireballs down to keep the spikes from coming up.
There was no acid used in the development of that game.
Do you remember it?
No. But
Really?
one thing I did want to mention. Yes, this is B9 Robot, not Robbie Robot. Sorry, guys. I had said I'd called him Robbie Robot. It's B9. And this is a good little kit. People told me it's the same one that comes out of the Chariot kit that they made. And I was actually kind of impressed with it. A little cleanup needs to be done. And problem with taking photographs of the small models, when you blow them up, you see all the blemishes that you can't see on this tiny little model. Well, tiny little model. But, what?
Fast Forward says, Max, that is because jumping out of a perfectly good aircraft is very much like strapping knives to your feet and chasing a rubber disc.
Well, it seemed like a good idea at the time. No, I'd always wanted to skydive since I'd seen. Okay, who's seen the old television show Ripcord? I saw that and I'm like, oh, that looks like fun. Well, hold on. It's time to chime in, Steve.
Yeah, go get Steve.
Okay, it's add a call. Contacts. See if I can do this without hanging up on anybody.
Yes.
Hey, I'm going to merge the call here. We're going for the merge. We're on a conference call. Whoa.
The arcade cabinets were big money.
So,
okay.
Hey, Steve.
Oh, hi, Ken.
Hey.
So you've been listening to all these great ideas that Max has had?
Yeah, listen, Max, I just wanted to throw this out.
Yeah.
All those box tops and everything that you had in the beginning.
Uh-huh.
I'm feeling dizzy because the world stopped spinning because Lou Glazer is spinning so hard in his grave it's affecting the rotation of the Earth. No, those were really good ideas.
I only put the Revell logo on one of them.
Yeah, I like the green slime one. I thought that would be great.
Oh, I'd buy that in a heartbeat. The thing is now guys, stay with me on this, but in the world of sci-fi, I would say you have three kind of eras. You have like the pre-World War II, going up to like Radar Men from the Moon, right? Where the early stuff, God bless them, they did a good job. No, I'd say pre-World War II, where it was real bubblegum, the Flash Gordon stuff. Yeah. Then you've got post-World War II, where it's all the atomic, and radiation, and you get into somewhat more serious science fiction. I don't know if I want to use the phrase grounded in reality, but and then I guess around when Kubrick hits the scene and does 2001, now you get this extremely heady Star Trek, cerebral science fiction, and all of them have their draws. Star Wars kind of goes back to the swashbuckling pirate films, but each of them has a pretty strong following. But the stuff between World War II and, let's say, 1970,
68.
you know,
Yeah.
let's say Star Wars or 2001. I mean, a lot of the 2001 models like the Moonbus are still popular. There's a lot of untapped market in their stuff but there are a lot of people around who still remember it, and some people are rediscovering, you know, fans who watch the old movies. Nobody seems to be interested in doing it, and I just think some of these things would, I could be completely wrong, but I think they would be popular. I think they would be marketable.
Yeah, well, the only problem is they have to be the old people like us.
Or young people have gotten into it, but hey, our money spends as good as anyone else's.
That's true.
And,
I mean, I thought the Green Slime one was good. I thought the Godzilla versus War of the World one was really cool.
I think that's my favorite.
We know that one's close to Max's heart.
Yeah.
You know, and the four kaijus. I mean, you know, you could have had like a round robin wrestling match, you know, with those four.
Yeah.
I mean, and you know, one movie that's pretty popular, but it didn't have vehicles, but it had kids, was Planet of the Apes.
Yeah. In fact, Abe Shikes, after they sold off, after they had...
They made it at Adar.
At Adar, that's right. And...
and they sold a lot of those, you know, because at the time, Planet of the Apes was really hot.
It was.
Yeah.
It was. And good Lord, would they make 7 of them?
Did the TV show?
Uh-huh. The Planet of the Apes television show was was part of my Friday night lineup. It was, if I remember correctly, it was Planet of the Apes, $6 Million Man, and then Kolchak the Night Stalker.
Yeah.
Hell, I think somebody even made a kid of Kolchak. It didn't do that well.
They never really made, I mean, I know they make a resin kit, but they never made a real styrene kit of the Icarus.
Yeah, there you go. And that's a cool looking ship.
Yeah, it is. I mean, yeah, I know they made a resin kit of it, but nobody ever made a mainstream kit of it.
If I was going to get in the model business, first off, I think selling crossover ideas, fantasy builds, Fred's back, yeah, Godzilla versus the Three Stooges. I think fantasy builds would be a way to, to repop interest. And I love crossover stuff, but look, you can build it as what it is, or you can build it as a crossover. In other words, a Star Wars and a Star Trek kit together, there's still Star Wars and Star Trek kits. You don't have to do what's on the box, but at least people the option, because science fiction by its nature is very creative.
Well, if you wanted to look at one place where you could get probably the most unique cross-section of horror sci-fi kits, that would be Monsters in Motion.
Yeah. And they make a lot of stuff I didn't know they made.
Yeah, I mean, I get an email from them every week to 10 days when they have new stuff. Mm-hmm. I'm amazed at some of the stuff that's up there. I mean, a lot of it's, resin or garage kits, but they have amazing stuff on there.
Pegasus does a lot, too.
Godzilla versus Kent's P-38.
We all know how that one will turn out.
I still haven't put that thing together yet. I've had so many house projects.
Well, you just moved in. You got a lot going on.
Yeah, I'll get to it. When I do, I'll show it to everybody.
You could always build it and have it sort of half crashed into the roof. Now,
what you can do is you can have all these crossover shows. In other words, like, Garfield was pointing out that Ripcord had Larry Pennell and Ken Curtis, as you guys may remember, later played Festus. You could have them parachuting behind the lines of the alien invaders to rescue, Johnny Quest while Godzilla fights the aliens, or something like that. I mean, just have fun with it, Meanwhile, James Bond is sent after to go get Dr. Zim, you know, because turns out he's the one that started all this. I mean, that's the kind of fan service that people will go to watch because they're fans and it's fun.
And I must compliment you about your greatest line from any sci-fi movie of all time.
Oh, yeah.
Because as you put the question up there, that was exactly what came into my mind when you said it.
The late, great Roddy Piper. Another one that's got a lot of great one-liners is, was it Big Trouble in Little China?
Yes.
And I always felt like Kurt Russell was sort of channeling Roddy Piper in that movie.
Well, did you ever see Death Becomes Her?
I saw part of it.
Okay, so there's one part in there where Isabella Rossellini is selling the Eternal Elixir drug to Meryl Streep.
Uh-huh.
And after she drinks it, she goes, and now a warning. And she goes, now a warning.
I remember that, yeah. I do remember that part. So, you guys are going to see it in about 10 seconds here. But I got both the spray guns working. And I am happy to report that, you can do them both at the same time. I got the pressure turned up kind of high in the footage you're about to see. But
fire phasers.
This is really a long lag tonight. I mean, it's like 20 seconds.
Here, reload that phaser.
Why do I have a mental picture
Fire
of
phasers.
using both guns at the same time and putting a hole in the wall of the TARDIS? I just picture the siding just blowing a hole through it.
I don't think they're quite that powerful.
Seeing honey go flying through the air, propelled by air.
Oh, no. She'd run tell Mom. I'd be in so much trouble.
Max, you're a little too far away from the house.
I'd be in so much trouble if I did that. One thing I did want to talk about real quick, this Sparmax, just looking at it, I got some close-ups here for you guys. You'll see in a few seconds. But it is genuinely a high-quality product. I mean, there's nothing flimsy on this thing. And the fittings and everything are just tight. Everything screws on finger tight, but tight. And the hoses and stuff. This is a nice piece of hardware. I really appreciate that.
Wow, that thing really blows stuff out.
Yeah. Now I had it turned up to a little above 20 pounds there. I don't spray. Normally I do about 12 to 14 pounds of pressure when I'm painting, but
well, the county could hire you to, for pest control with that. You could probably blow a couple of block radius from where you live with that.
Well, it's a nice piece of hardware, and I just want to thank everybody again for sending them out there. And
you know what? I just bet it has enough pressure that you could sit on it and use it like a cycle. Just hover with it.
What?
Just point the brushes down. You could just hover and ride it.
Yeah, maybe not quite that much, but they.
That would blow a hole in the bottom of the TARDIS.
Yeah. Gosh. I mean, if you ever got to put a fence post in, just take it out there and just blast it in the ground and get a big hole right there.
Well, so I saw the pictures you sent me of that car, that Lotus, and I thought, even though it's a sci-fi night, I think we pretty much covered everything. I just want to talk about cars for just a second. And, well, you were talking about the Lotus and the rear end, and I remember when I built that Caterham, that the rear end on that thing was, well, it was a trick. So I just thought you maybe talk about that, building the rear of that thing, and some of the challenges you faced, and tell people what kit it was. I'll see if I can find the picture.
I'm still looking at you holding two guns.
Yeah, there's a bit of a lag here.
Barry just had a great idea. Acetone and fabric lightener, and you'd have flamethrowers.
Wow. You just had to offer that suggestion, didn't you?
What's that?
You just had to offer that suggestion, didn't you?
Now you know know what's going to come later in the week.
If you got,
I shouldn't have said that, okay? That
if
comment would have just passed by him. He would have missed it, and all would have been good.
if
Now we'll be reviewing the insurance policy on the home to see if it's covered for fire.
I swear to God, if I end up on the cover of the paper, the last thing I'm gonna is gonna be blame Barry.
I can just see one of the neighbors out in their backyard doing a barbecue, and all of a sudden this flame goes shooting 20 feet up in the air.
Followed by a blood-curdling scream.
I can see the headline on the paper. Town resident and JetBlue pilot roasts house.
The house isn't what I'm worried about.
Government investigates. What is he doing in the shed in the back of his house?
Official government report. Findings of official government report. What an idiot.
Shaggy Buzz goes, oh my God, I'm doing that.
Here we go. Findings of official government report. What an idiot. Now running for Congress.
Well, a man does have to have a hobby and a purpose in life.
Win by landslide.
Sam goes, hold my beer, watch this.
Last comment said before flame. What could go wrong?
Come on. The last comment's going to be, for the record, this was Barry's idea.
Next week, Max has no eyebrows in this story.
Well, you can hardly see my eyebrows now anyway, so, that wouldn't be much of a loss. The mustache I might lament. But, okay.
Shaggy Buzz, if you do that, make a video of it. We got to see it.
All right. Steve, tell me about working on this car. You're going to... I'm sorry, I've got the picture of the rear end of your Loda. Because we're talking on the phone, it takes about 20 seconds for this thing to get out to the world and up to your computer. But we're talking, so we have instant communication. So in a couple of seconds, you're going to see the picture. And when you... There it is. Okay.
Well, I don't see it yet, but I'm waiting.
I guess I'm getting a little quicker than you. Everybody gets it depending on your end at a different pace.
It's an old...
Chuck, hang on. Yeah. Chuck says, it seems like a good idea at the time.
I wonder how many times that's been someone's last words.
Always does.
Okay, so Steve, you were lamenting the rear. That is I had the same trouble with the catering, but that was a much smaller. This is a much smaller scale. So tell me about the rear end.
The issue with the car is that it's an old IMC kit, which translates into it's incredibly fiddly, as everybody says it builds an IMC kit. So the rear suspension's very detailed, and to get everything just to line up and fit right was a little challenging, but it wasn't, as difficult as some of the other kits. But the thing that was the most trying was trying to get all of the exhaust pipes to go together and be underneath that little cowling in the back and made up to the exhaust pipe coming out of the back. Now, if you really look close in the picture, you'll see that there's one that didn't quite make it because I lost the other collector.
Oh.
Oops.
So I glued it up, and I said, it looks good, and I just, don't turn it around. And the other thing that's weird about the car is that the entire windscreen, there's two holes towards the back that you're supposed to have tabs, and they're supposed to go in the holes. Well, the tabs are in the front where there's no holes.
Details.
So you just cut them off and just glued the thing down, and there it went. But other than that, it's a pretty nice kit. It goes together really well. It fits pretty good. But, it's a typical IMC kit reissued by AMT. It's very fiddly.
You said a lot of parts press fit.
I was amazed at how many of the parts pressed that I didn't have to glue in. I was stunned.
That's good.
Because, you're test fitting them, and it goes in and it stays, and you're like, you know what, I'm just leaving it. Because it's tight, it fits, I'm not playing with it. It's good. But it's a nice kit. It's a, 2-day, 3-day build, depending upon how fast you want to do it. And Very nice. I mean, the rear comes off and the body comes off, so you can see, the front suspension and some interior parts, and you can see the engine and everything. And it's very nice. Everything kind of fit pretty well, but the exhaust pipes in the back are just trying.
Emmanuel just said the Tarbus reached orbit before Artemis.
There you go.
You just saw that one, huh?
I don't even like to think about this, but I'm thinking, I wonder if that airbrush cleaner, I wonder if that stuff's flammable.
Oh, you think?
Here we go.
I mean, if you use a candle and you stand a few feet away,
No, officer. There was a flame-throwing dragon that walked through my backyard.
You should have seen it.
Just make sure you don't point it at the house when you do that.
I just know, because I've got a box of matches in the Tarbus, and I just know I'm going to be cleaning it with the liquid airbrush cleaner, looking at those matches going, don't do it.
Are your neighbors constantly on vacation, or just that old that they don't know what's going on next door?
I just don't know. That's the Dan Gurney Lotus. Wait a minute, what is fast forward? Yeah, okay.
That's the Dan Gurney Lotus, and the same kit with different decals can be the Jim Clark Lotus.
Okay.
Painted differently, painted green with a yellow stripe and yellow exhaust pipes.
That car looks perfectly safe. I mean, just
you're
gas tank motor and aluminum.
You're sitting in aluminum surrounded by fuel. What could be safer?
Yeah. You're talking to a man who's thinking about putting, flammables through an airbrush and seeing what happens when the matches strike. So I may not be the best person to ask that question to.
I talked to the guy who's the product manager at AMT, who's a friend of mine, and I asked him, I said, are you going to do the Jim Clark one? And he said, depends on how well this one sells. So there might be an opportunity. Now, you can get aftermarket decals and just paint it differently, and it's the same kit. So, if you wanted to do the two of them, you could. But this car is sort of significant because Dan Gurney went to Colin Chapman over in England and flew him over to Indianapolis at his expense to show him what went on in Indianapolis.
Uh-huh.
And then put Ford together with him, and they designed this car and put the Ford V8 in it, and it was really one of the first rear-engine cars, but it was the first initially successful one, and that led the way for everybody to switch to rear-engine cars.
Okay. Well, we're going to be wrapping up shortly. It's going on 9 o'clock, but before we go, I wanted to show everybody something, and it includes you guys, and it should be popping up on your screen now. This is actual screen grab from the email I got from Tom Daniel following the Tom Daniel inspired build. And he was thrilled. He says, Max, I tried to add comment, but could not. Please tell all the entrants I'm wild, fantastic, out of sight, way cool. Big smile on my old mug, TD. So
great.
Everybody who put something for the Tom Daniel build, I want you to know he was thrilled by everything, and he really, really appreciated it. And I thought you guys would be glad to see that. And you know what? I have to admit, we didn't get a lot of inches. I think we only had about 8 inches. The ones we had were really, really good. I loved them all. And I just wanted to say thanks to everybody submitting. We got a couple weeks before the Ukraine build goes up. And that's pretty much all I got for the evening. Anybody? Eduardo, you're coming in as we're going out. But has anybody got anything to want to bring up before we call it a night?
Not that we could cover in 4 minutes.
Well, it's more of a suggestion, not an actual deadline. But I just want to make sure we got everything. And
just do this.
What?
When you do the flamethrower, have at least 3 cameras going at the same time.
And this, Your Honor, is when
I'm sure, and make sure Monica has you sign a release first.
And the hose ready.
And that, Your Honor, is how they found out that the airbrush actually had a leak. But Well, you know, put it in. Well, wear my Godzilla gloves, so at least it's going to look like a fire-breathing dragon. You know.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, you should wear something protective on your hands. You don't know what's going to happen.
Hey, you know what? For next Christmas or next birthday, we could get him a hazmat suit.
Is it like asbestos flame-proof? You know?
With its own oxygen tank.
You know what? We could get him one of those big. Right, we get him one of those big canvas tents like they had for ET.
Oh, speaking of cars, one more parting shot. At some point, because I'm not that far away, I've never been to the Don Garlits Museum, and it's only about an hour and a half drive from here. At some point, I'd like to go down there and do a tour of the place and make a video about it. Maybe even, I heard Garlits is a really cool guy, maybe even do a live stream from down there or something. That's kind of I'm reaching on that one, but hey, you know what, Chuck? I do have some Nomex gloves. I just remembered that. Anyway, so at some point I got to get down there and do that. It's terrible. I'm your typical Floridian because Disney and the Garlits and all this stuff are here. I never tend to go there because, well, it's always there. It'll always be there, and then one day it's not anymore.
Or you can't go.
Well, it's not that far.
No, I have no excuse for not going. Just
you get to the point where you physically can't go.
Gee, thanks, Kent. You're older than I am.
I know I'm older than you. Trust me, I think about that sometimes. I'm like, holy cow, I need to do this now while I'm still able.
Yeah.
This is able?
Oh my God. Garfield just put in the comments section, he said, Pyro Max. I was just thinking, if I could get the Pyro molds, that would be the perfect name for the company. Pyro Max.
Small piece.
That could be a new channel. Yeah.
What could possibly go wrong with this idea?
Hey, you know what? Since you're going to be on the big bus soon, you should see if Mike would let you do a live stream from the Aviation Museum out in California.
Oh, that's a thought. I could talk to him about that. If I had a long enough layover or something, you know.
That would be pretty cool.
Or just get off my sorry butt and travel out there for kicks and giggles. But
no, I mean, if you were flying out there,
if we had like a 32 hour or something, that would not be impossible. But of course, remember when I go to the bus, I'll be the minion, not the skipper, because the whole seniority thing.
So you'll be Gilligan then.
That's right. Remember, if you want to get off Gilligan's Island, first thing you do, kill Gilligan.
Just make sure you save Marianne for us.
Oh yeah, got to save Marianne.
Oh, you know what would be bad is if he ends up first FO on some FO that he abused when he was on Amber.
That's pretty good about not abusing them. One thing I did warn them though is that you get all these old cranky captains, and I'm kind of like I'm like, look, I used to be a cranky captain, so right back at you. I ain't intimidated.
Yes, and then he would be assigned to the PLO.
The what? Permanent latrine orderly.
Permanent latrine orderly.
No time for sergeants, Andy Griffith.
Yes.
That's the one thing that stuck. That and you know what they called men in the Air Force? Men, airmen. I don't want to be an airman.
He actually had that job for a while.
Okay. Hey, I was in the Army. Everybody's PLO for a while.
No. When you used to drive the honey bucket when you were...
my first job in the airline business was driving a turd hearse. And, yeah. It was the easiest... Well, actually, it was tossing the bags. You had to get promoted to drive the turd hearse because they didn't have any heavy lifting in it. So, it was a sought-after job. You just drove around your electric cart and pumped out the poopers. And, we should talk to Max about det cord and models. Det cord makes models disassemble too quickly. I want the slow burn. But, well, guys, I guess it's 9 o'clock, 9:01. I guess that wraps it for tonight. I'm going to spin the outro in case you guys want to keep chatting. I hope you're receiving that outro music better than I am because it's stuttering on this end, but it may just be my iPad. But anyway,
well, Ken, we survived another.
We did. I don't know how.
Well, guys, I appreciate you joining in.
Later.
We'll talk at you later. Take care.
Bye.
It's been fun, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Ah, I thought they'd never leave. Okay, guys. Well, that's pretty much it. I'm going to run the outro in case you want to talk to each other. I'll be watching the comment section for a little while. I appreciate everybody showing up, as always. Guys, take care of yourselves. Hope you're having a great modeling experience. And as always, model on.
Woke up this morning with light in my eyes, then realized it was still dark outside. Was a light coming down from the sky? Don't know who or why. Must be those strangers that come every night. The saucer-shaped lights put people uptight. Leave blue-green footprints that glow in the dark. I hope they get home alright. Hey, Mr. Spaceman, won't you please take me along? I won't do anything wrong. Hey, Mr. Spaceman, won't you please take me along for a ride? Woke up this morning, was feeling quite weird. Had flies in my beer, my toothpaste was smeared.